We did our project on ferns and seedless vascular plants.
We have found that the characteristics for these plants are seedless, they're diploid, their reproductive cycles are homosporous and heterosporous, and they have flagellated sperm that can swim. These plants are also autotrophic.
Terrestrial adaptations that we found in seedless vascular plants are that they had an underground root system that absorbs minerals and water into the stems and leaves, and this is different from plants that are in water because the plants in water's roots are free floating in the water. A xylem and phloem are also adaptations to land for seedless vascular plants. Lignin is the last adaptation that we found, and this is a hard material embedded in the cellulose, which helps the plant be supported and keep from wilting. An evolutionary trend we found in seedless vascular plants and all other plants are that they came and had an origin from green algae. One of the terrestrial adaptations that we just talked about was a xylem, and those carry water and minerals up the roots and is kind of like a vein of the plant.
Along with the xylem is the phloem, which is a complex tissue in the vascular system of higher plants that consists mainly of tubes that distribute sugars, amino acids, and other organic nutrients throughout the plant. The habitats of seedless vascular plants include damp locations, forest floors, tropic, and temperate regions.
Another big point that you guys need to know is that seedless vascular plants are diploid, and that's their dominant stage of reproduction. Like I said in the slide before, the dominant life cycle of a seedless vascular plant is diploid. Another word for diploid is a sporophyte. The reproduction of seedless vascular plants can either be homosporous and heterosporous. Homosporous is when a plant produces a single spore that has both a male and female sex organs. An example of this is a fern. The other source of reproduction is heterosporous. In this, they produce a megaspore and a microspore. A megaspore is a female gametophyte, and a microspore is a male gametophyte. And an example of a heterosporous life cycle is a water fern.
This diagram is the life cycle of a fern. Most ferns are homosporous. They develop into small heart-shaped gametophytes that sustain themselves by photosynthesis. Each gametophyte has both female and male sex organs. Fern sperm, like those of seedless vascular plants, use flagella to swim. A fertilized egg develops into a new sporophyte and the young plant grows out from the gametophyte. The spots on the underside of the reproductive leaves are called sporae. Each sorus is a cluster of sporangia. Each sporangia releases spores which give rise to gametophytes.
So this diagram here is the difference between homosporous and heterosporous. Learning about seedless vascular plants, we found that there were 3 different divisions. The first division is lycophytes, the second is horsetails, and the third division is ferns. The first division is lycophytes, and that was evolved during the Devonian era, and it is a major landscape during the Carboniferous period. So here you can see a picture of what a lycophyte looks like, and as in the picture, most lycophytes' habitat is on the forest floor.
Division lycophytes habitat is on the forest floor in temperate regions as well as tropical plants that grow on trees as epiphytes. They are autotrophs and they first evolved during the Devonian period. They are homosporous as well as heterosporous, and their main stage is the diploid stage.
As we said in the previous slide, epiphytes are any plant that grows upon or is attached to another plant or object just for physical support, but aren't considered parasites.
So the next division of seedless vascular plants is a horsetail, and it has another ancient lineage and evolution from seedless plants back in the Devonian era. This is a picture of a horsetail. The division of horsetails in the seedless vascular plants can also be called Sphagnophyta. Its habitat is common in the northern hemisphere, and it has a saprophyte generation, which is diploid. Meiosis occurs in the sporangia, and haploid spores are released. The last division of seedless vascular plants, and the one that you guys are probably most common with, are ferns. And these plants radiate into many different species that are similar to lycophytes and horsetails. All of you probably have seen a fern before, but this is an example of what a fern looks like.
Division Pterophyta's habitat is in the tropics and temperate forests. There are more than 12,000 species known today. Their leaves are called microphyls. There is a single leaf called a megaphyll that has extensive branch systems of veins. It evolved by formation of webbing between many separate branches growing closely together. Many terrestrial adaptations are the same in bryophytes as in vascular plants. The sporophyte is dominant in vascular plants, while the gametophyte is the dominant stage in bryophytes. Seedless vascular plants and bryophytes both have flagellated sperm that can swim.
The crasiers are popular food sources in some areas. The ostrich fern of northeast North America is also a common food source. The most commonly eaten fern in East Asia, the osmund and peridium, are now being found as carcinogenic. The mosquito fern has a blue-green algae in the pockets of its leaves, which also help to produce the nitrogen to some, which other plants may use. This increases the productivity of rice paddies where the ferns live. The poisonous bracken is also considered to be a noxious weed. It's found also in several countries.
This is the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and we will try to answer them.